It says something when a team like the Nationals are more disorganized and wasteful than their governmental counterparts. What do we do for this dubious honor? Twist the knife, of course. The Montreal Expos start out as a pioneer, Canada's first professional baseball team. They bring pride to the country by experiencing typical expansion woes. At least they have hockey. This beginning misery at least is jettisoned quickly for the endless futility of mediocrity under the beatdown Jerry Park. So you're a game back from the division lead around 500? How bad is this division? Apparently not bad enough as Montreal loses 9 of 10. The poutine is doused in Seagrams. In fact, this mediocrity is far too delicious. Enjoy it some more as you're stuck in Jerry for a shitload of time. The team gets desperate and trades for a fossilized Dave McNally. What the hell is free agency? Ken Singleton and Mike Torres seem to leave with Montreal's ability to win. One word describes this team. Tabarnak. Expos, good news and bad news. The good news, you finally got that new stadium you've been asking for. The bad news, it's utter hell for the sport you play. Welcome to the recycled majesty of Olympic Stadium. Your reward for such patience is a few more years of that 500 Stratling goodness. Here it is, boys, a legitimate playoff contender for the first time in your history. A team led by a young core of Gary Carter, Andre Dawson, Ellis Valentine, and Steve Rogers. You have the second best record in all of baseball with a 95-win season. I say this as if there is a catch. You bet your sweet ass there is. The league's best record happened to be in your division. There will be no postseason in Montreal. This will hopefully be the last time the Expos are fucked over by the sports dynamics. The good news is that you have another outstanding 90-win season and have a chance to get into the gold of the NLCS by beating the Phillies in a series at home. You can manage, right?
That long drive to left field, he buried it. He buried it way back. Out of here.
Mike Schmidt takes the depressing trumpet and shoves it in your pee hole repeatedly. You miss out on the playoffs by a fucking game. These young, electrifying Expos make it into the endless utopia of the postseason with a furious second half. They even got a new stud in Tim Raines to join their core. Revenge is served gloriously to the Phillies as you beat them in an extended playoff round thanks to a player's strike. You're up 2-1 once again in the loving confines of Olympic Stadium against the Dodgers. Make Canada proud. The normally reliable Woody Fryman prolapses on the mound as the bullpen shits it in Game 4. Game 5 at home. Hopefully nothing ominous there. The game is coming down to the wire as... Why the fuck are you putting in Steve Rogers on 2 days rest?
And it swung on, fly ball, center field. Dawson going back onto the warning track. Dawson at the wall. That ball is a home run!
Agony, thy name is Rick Monday. Oh, you wanted a reward for such pain? You'll get it, alright. A return to the misery of mediocrity. All of that high-end talent and brilliant player development leads you to chronic underachieving. And Tim Raines is so dedicated to the cause that he carries a vial of cocaine in his back pocket during games. L'Expo no amor, am I right? We need a true leader on the roster, a gritty veteran for our youth to photosynthesize his winning ways. His name, Pete Rose. And he's old and he sucks. We got his 4,000th hit though. Suckers. You think this mediocrity is bad? A new contestant is about to enter the ring. Budgetary issues. First victim, a franchise facing Gary Carter. Enjoy your hell, Montreal. Congratulations, Gary Carter just won a World Series. With the Mets. Great. Your star Andre Dawson is becoming a free agent? We can't have that happen. Let's drive down the price and sabotage his efforts. We pissed him off to the point where he fucked off to the Cubs for whatever they wanted to pay him. Mission accomplished? The Expos finally managed to stop playing below their abilities and translated it into a 91-win campaign. They then realized the dangling carrot led them off a cliff as 2 teams finished above them in their division. No playoffs once again. At least it was 2 teams this time. They tried desperately to patch up their wounds as the hounds of mediocrity consumed them. Alright, this may be your last chance at a playoff push with this core. Ownership is getting tired of funding you underachieving sacks of shit and is throwing everything at this 1 year. You even gave up a haul of prospects and projects to the Mariners for a stud in Mark Langston to complement El Presidente. He becomes a god as you are up 3.5 games near the end of July. Full speed ahead. Right into an iceberg as the team collapses in the second half and finished with a 500 record. Charles Bronfman is tired of greedy players and underachieving. Witness more turmoil as he looks to sell and rumors of relocation multiply. And another good but not good enough season, that too. Bronfman finally has a buyer in Montreal. He takes off in his Seagram's jet for a collective of locals led by Claude Brochu. He's got funding. For now. Ensure confidence in this new group by immediately trading off another franchise face in Tim Raines. It's time for another one of those rebuilding years. The team falls back to shit and wastes a perfect game by El Presidente. Olympic Stadium itself celebrates by collapsing on itself and leaving the team homeless in September. The team and stadium are built back up again and returns with an 87-win season. You know the drill by now. Someone else is ahead of them in the division, they don't make the postseason, blah 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 blah. The Expos are once again cucked by the baseball gods as a 94-win season isn't enough to win the division. They lose out to the Phillies for October ball again. Meh, who cares? The Canadiens won a cup this year. That's what's truly important. It is here, a true championship contender. Bridesmaids, the Expos are going to be the ones doing the cucking this year. Emerging hitters like Will Cordero, Cliff Floyd, and Rondell White. The best outfield in baseball in Moises Alou, Marquise Grissom, and Larry Walker. A burgeoning ace in Ken Hill and mid-rotation workhorse Jeff Facero. Young studs in Butch Henry and Pedro Martinez. A legitimate two-headed bullpen monster in Mel Rojas and John Wetland. They have the best record in baseball by a country mile, rampaging against all those who oppose them. There is only one thing that could stop this juggernaut. Baseball itself. The MLB is pissy about the players' walkout and locks the doors for the remainder of the season, thus canceling the World Series and robbing Montreal of any potential playoff run. We in the shitposting business call this the Montreal Screwjob. You thought it couldn't get worse. Remember those budgetary issues back in the 80s? They're back with a vengeance. The Expos are slashing costs left and right and have proceeded to blow it up. The city of Montreal never forgives MLB or the Expos for this atrocity and begins their slow descent into a hell worse than they imagined. The team collapses like fan interest does. Start the pain by watching the Atlanta Braves win the title that should have been yours. And Marquise Grissom won with them too. Wait, you wanted to find out what happened to that Randy Johnson guy they traded for Mark Langston? Oh, he only turned into one of the most dominating pitchers in all of baseball. That's just rotten luck. The Expos are once again out of the funk with an 88-win season. Even with the wild card, they return to being the bridesmaids. They are 2 games back of that glory. If only the organization wasn't so cheap. The Yankees are not so. They begin an empire as John Wetland dons the trophy. Oh shit, they have Tim Raines as well? Yes, everyone is still being sent packing because ownership is cheap. Yes, they are getting pennies on the dollar for their player. Yes, they are back to mediocrity. It can't get worse though. Bitch, I'm not stopping there. The fucking Florida Marlins won a World Series. A few of their main components, Moises Alou, Cliff Floyd, and Gerald GM. Im-fucking-peccable. Pedro Martinez is quite possibly one of the best pitchers of this generation and just won the Cy Young Award. It's too bad the Expos can't afford such riches. Let's ship him off to a real team in Boston for some prospects. The prospects they got back never developed. And Pedro Martinez became the transcendent face of the Red Sox franchise. At least it can't get worse. Celebrate this utter fleecing by returning to a place you haven't seen in a long time. The dark corners of the basement. It's a lot like Olympic Stadium, honestly. Speaking of Olympic Stadium, it's a fucking trash heap. The field is shit, the concourse is shit, and it's also unsafe for players and fans alike. And is also shit. The only option is a new stadium in the heart of Montreal. Yeah, it turns out that whole pissing off the city by being cheap asses leads to a lack of goodwill. The stadium proposal is dead. Even as the fires burn around them, they can't get worse. At least there's a bright spot in all of this. A young, electrifying talent in Vladimir Guerrero. He's probably the only thing worth watching on the team. The Expos are finally sold off to this art dealer named Jeffrey Loria. He talks a big game. Truly, it can't get much worse than this. The Expos have reached a crisis point. The team still sucks, they can't get a new stadium, and Loria seems to be pivoting towards a move. Okay, now it can't get worse. Holy shit, Loria made it worse? I'm not even angry at this, I'm fucking stunned. Like, how do you even manage that? Congratulations! The Expos are in such dire straits that the team is turned into a collective by the MLB and is going to be contracting at the end of the season. Jeffrey Loria? He gets the dubious punishment of making a glorious profit and getting another franchise to ruin. Even after 94, baseball is somehow still sodomizing this team with a drill. As a parting gift, Loria literally takes everything of value with him to Miami. Even the roast beast. The Expos are barren. This is going to get worse, isn't it? Montreal is nearing the end of the rope, but Omar Minaya has a cunning idea. This franchise needs to be saved. There need to be splash moves to bring the fans back. What are the use of prospects when there is no tomorrow? Let's send our best for an ace in Bartolo Colon. The process must continue. Let's bring back an old face in Cliff Floyd. And then trade him for next to nothing 20 days later. All of these bold moves lead the team back to mediocrity. At least it was a good run. Huh, a letter for us. The Expos aren't contracting. Shoot, well, we can't afford a luxury like Cologne anymore. Say, we should trade him to the White Sox for El Duque. That honestly sounds about right. In their drug-induced mania, let's see what prospects they traded to Cleveland for Cologne. All-star heartthrob Grady Sizemore, Cy Young Award winner Cliff Lee, four-time Gold Glover Brandon Phillips. Jesus, you couldn't have failed to trade harder if you tried. Montreal, welcome to baseball, Poorhouse Edition. You get more mediocrity and a forced extended stay in Puerto Rico. The MLB is so generous that they won't let you call up minor leaguers for September due to a minimal budget. UP tried to kill himself 6 times this year as a result. At least you still have Vlad to get you through these troubling times. So you're saying he's a free agent at the end of the season? Well, baseball can't let Montreal have anything fun. He's going to the Angels. In a testament that there is no such thing as poetic justice, Jeffrey Loria wins a World Series. Why would the baseball gods allow this, you ask? Because fuck you. The miserable torture is over, Expos. The sun is rising. The relentless failure and betrayal of your stay in Montreal will be a thing of the past. You're moving to Washington, D.C. The last time baseball was in the nation's capital, fans openly rioted as Bob Short moved the Senators at the 11th hour for a sweetheart deal in Texas. The fans proceeded to storm the field and ransack it of all valuables before their final game could be finished. The DC area has known nothing but misery on the baseball diamond. Constant futility in their teams as they hadn't seen a World Series in over 70 years and hadn't won a title since Calvin Coolidge was president. This is as star-crossed as it gets. The hard luck franchise with the hard luck city. This isn't a coincidence. This is fate. Turns out that Manaya's desperation of trading the farm to save the team a few years back was a terrible mistake. DC gets to witness the return of relentless mediocrity on the diamond. The constraints are off, boys. Time to roll with a new stud outfielder in Alfonso Soriano. Wait, outfielder? New owner Ted Lerner brings in a cadre of experienced baseball men to assess the damage. The team's foundation is well beyond repair. Their solution is to blow it all up and start from scratch. It's time to unleash the plan. Obviously, a compelling name wasn't part of the creative process. The plan begins in earnest as everything is shipped off or let go for picks and prospects. Don't worry, this time it's deliberate. Nationals, prepare to suck like you have never sucked before. This relentless suckitude allows the Nats to reap the golden treasure of elite talents in Steven Strasburg and Bryce Harper in the draft. The future is already looking brighter. In fact, I think it's time to invest more in this future. Let's bribe Jason Worth with a dump truck of cash to bring his services to the Capitol. Maybe he can afford a haircut with it. Jim Riggleman has been manning the fort here for a few years, but we're going to wait and see if he will earn a new contract. Jim? You there, buddy? Come on, we were just kidding. The fruits of the plan are beginning to ripen and thrive. Bryce Harper becomes a baseball superstar overnight. Ryan Zimmerman isn't too far behind him. The hitting core is loaded with the most talent in years, and the pitching becoming one of the best in baseball. Oh, Steven Strasburg is the ace of the future. We need to protect him at all costs, so we're going to shut him down for the year to save him for future runs? Okay. Regardless of how questionable that move was, the Nationals are making their ancestors proud. The best record in the NL is storming back against those elitist Cardinals with a Game 4 walk-off and shelling their starting pitcher in Game 5. This is more than a breakthrough. This is revenge for 94. There's no way this team can blow a 6-run lead. There is too much karma involved. The Cardinals slowly chip away at the deficit and get back in the game. Man, if there was only a pitcher you could count on to stop the bleeding. I just don't know where you can find one. Okay, Nats, here's the plan. You're up by 2 and you've put in your best reliever in Drew Storen to close the game. They're down to their final out. There's literally no way you could fuck this up. You walked him. Fine, there's another chance to... You walked him. Fucking hell, at least try to throw strikes.
And there's a ball hit off the glove of Desmond. 2 runs are gonna score. The Cardinals will tie it up.
I didn't mean meatballs down the motherfucking plates, Drew. Who's up next, Pete Kozma? God, this is an easy out.
And a line drive to right field. It's going to be a base hit. 2 runs will score. and the Cardinals take a 9-7 lead.
I'm just going to let you watch as your hopes and dreams are pissed away by your own incompetence. Get in the corner and think about what you've done.
You blew it!
It turns out their Game 5 failure haunted them so badly that they've relegated themselves to bridesmaids scornfully looking at the cool kids play ball in October. Besting Strasburg last year was totes worth it, am I right? The Nationals rebound and once again have the best record in the National League. They get the opportunity to play another wildcard team in the San Francisco Giants, but proceed to be stymied in Game 1. Game 2, however, different story. They're up a run and need 2 outs to win. New manager Matt Williams hands the ball to Drew Storen.
Send the ball into the opposite field. That's a fair ball.
Why do you never learn, Nats? Deep into the 18th inning, and nobody can hit a damn thing off Yusmeiro Petit. I think we all know how this is going to end.
Belt with a drive, hammered to deep right field, and that one is gone!
Agony, thy name is Brandon Belt. Aaron Barrett finishes the hatchet job by forgetting how to throw strikes. You didn't even wait until Game 5 to embarrass yourselves this time. You know what? We can't accept this failure any longer. We need our own Mad Bum. It's time to sign the heterochromatic legend Max Scherzer. Instead of a dump truck, we send him a yacht full of money and women. The Nats finally realize that Drew Storen is a hot mess in the bullpen and go and grab an elite closer. Pappledouche! He totally isn't going to be abrasive in this locker room. Nationals, what you have just shown us is one of the most despicable wastes of talent we have ever seen. At no point in your incoherent season did you ever come close to playing to your potential despite a generational year from Harper. We are all dumbfounded by the decisions Matt Williams makes on a near daily basis. I award you no playoffs, and may God have mercy on your souls. Let's take a look at your new manager. Bud Black, not bad, he should do well here. Wait, so he's backing out because you lowballed him? You replaced him with—
Wait a goddamn minute! How the fuck did Bud Black turn into Dusty Baker? God, it's like you want to fail!
So you're telling me that Pappledouche is a cancer that divides the locker room? No, you don't say. This year brings the Nats what I call the Dusty Baker Special. A year where the team has an outstanding regular season, but whose flaws are exposed come playoff time due to a variety of reasons. Witness Blake Trinan implode in Game 4 as Kenley Jansen shows him how it's done. Yes, let's keep Max Scherzer in at 95 pitches when he looks gassed. Even better, bring in 11 billion pitchers as nobody can get a fucking out. This is what you asked for, Washington. You got your wish of another experienced manager. Too bad he's experienced in failure. So, you aren't choking this time? You're going back home to get revenge for all of the Game 5 ghosts past? Pinch me, I have to be fucking dreaming. It turns out that, yes, I am fucking dreaming. Let's begin with the starting pitching getting iffy again. It's okay though, because they have their Mad Bum in Max Scherzer to put the finger in the dike. You were expecting a happy ending, weren't you? This is when Max Scherzer implodes and suddenly forgets how to throw a baseball away from bats. He is shelved like Dresden until he is mercifully pulled after an inning. The remainder of the game is a cavalcade of cringeworthy baseball as the Nats get in their own fucking way. As the Cubs try desperately to hand them victory, they self-destruct and choke on mustard gas. Every single time. The Nats have officially lost all sympathy from the rest of the league. Agony? Oh no, you did this to yourselves. So now you realize Dusty Baker is a choking sack of shit. Well, it's too late for formalities now. Thank God your division is a joke. Game 5 syndrome reappears earlier and more often than expected. The team pisses away a cakewalk division in a flaming wreckage of underachieving and fighting and awkwardly punting the year just because. You have failed to make the postseason. Congratulations, you have successfully wasted the controllable years of a generational player yet again. There was a time when I felt bad for this organization, how they got fucked over by baseball at every turn, how unfairly Montreal was treated. As a result of this past decade, I feel they weren't bullied enough. All of the talent this team has had over the years and they can't win a legitimate playoff series? Yes, they won in 81, but that round only happened due to a player's strike. If the playoffs were based on traditional methods, they wouldn't have made it in. And don't give me shit about 94, knowing this team, they would have found a way to fuck that up as well. This organization is failure in every sense of the word. Failure in ownership, failure in ability, failure to bring joy to their fan base. The Nationals are fucking void of all worth. This team should have contracted in the early 2000s. It's the only way this whole stench could have been avoided in the first place. Thank God the Capitals won the Stanley Cup, or else I'd be going harder on you worthless pieces of fuck.